I'm the Chief Executive of NIBA. It's absolutely an honour and a pleasure on our part to welcome back Jody Sharman and Andrew Jobling to have another chat with us this afternoon. This is the third one of the third presentation of this series, and we're absolutely delighted to have Andrew back with us. I'm not going to say too much. A lot of the work, a lot of the scanning that I've been doing at NIBA over the last 3 months, particularly in March and April, people were talking a lot about the new normal and what's things going to look like on the other side. The thing that I've become more and more convinced about is there is no new normal now, and that for quite a long, I'm really feel that for quite a long time, we're going to have uncertainty, confusion, disruption. And that's going to be really challenging for nearly everybody. It's going to be challenging for NIBA as an association. It's a challenge for us personally and our team. It's massively challenged for brokers, not only looking after a very difficult insurance market and the challenges there, but also a challenging economy and the circumstances of individual clients. So I think the need for resilience, and particularly personal resilience, is going to be so important over the next probably couple of years, and that's quite amazing, really, that this is the sort of timeframes we're now thinking about. So it's an absolute pleasure to get Andrew back with us again, and thanks, Andrew, for helping out in this process. The theme is direction, not perfection. I think with uncertainty and confusion, we're not really sure what perfection looks like anymore. So for me personally, having a clear direction, understanding what you can control, understanding where you think you need to be, and doing the best you can in the circumstances is where I'm coming from at the moment. But I'm absolutely looking forward to the presentation. And again, thanks to Jody for helping put it together, and for Andrew for making his time available. So Jody, I think I'll hand over to you, and best wishes for the session.
Thanks, Dallas. Actually, I'm gonna just do my brief introduction, and then I'm going to hand over to Jody, who's the star of the show. But I just, firstly, Dallas, thank you, and again, thanks to NIBA for allowing me to come and speak, and I'm very grateful for every person that's on this call at the moment. So thank you all for being here, and look forward to making this a really interactive and powerful presentation. I guess this particular presentation was inspired by Jody. And if you were at the last talk that I did, Jody, I can't remember when that was. That was back in June or May or something like that? Yeah, and Jody did an introduction, which was an absolute tearjerker, and she told the story about her dad's passing from suicide over 12 months ago. And I said to her, Jody, you need to get your message out to the world. You need to start sharing this. So Jody and I have collaborated on this particular session, and I hope that you're going to find this incredibly useful right now. And as Dallas said, you know, we are living in incredibly uncertain times. I don't know how many of you are in Melbourne, but us Melbourneites, we are locked away. You know, we're in the naughty corner of the country, and you know, who knows how long this is going to go for? Who knows what's going to happen? Right now, all we know is that we're told what we can and can't do, where we can and can't go. We're told, we've been given all these things that are totally out of our control. And as Dallas said, what we are in control of is what are the things I really want to get us to focus on, because the reality is that the consequence of worrying about things that are out of our control are going to lead us all, if we do that, to anxiety, to depression, and we are seeing a devastatingly high rate of suicide, and certainly suicide attempts, and we're seeing violence, and we're seeing a whole range of things, which I believe is the result of focusing on things that we have no control over, which always leads to frustration and anger and resentment and emotions that are going to have a very devastating effect, not just on us personally, on our own personal well-being, but certainly on other people. So again, thank you for being part of this. I'm going to hand this over to Jody, because she's an amazingly inspiring lady. What she's been through over the last 12 to 18 months, how she's handled it, and now how willing she is to share her story and to help other people is absolutely inspiring. So I'm going to shut my mouth now and I'm going to hand it over to Jody. Thanks, Jody.
Thanks, Andrew. And thank you, everybody, for joining today. I do hope that you take something away from today. I'm only going to talk for a brief time now, and then I'm going to hand it back to Andrew, and he's going to go through a lot of tips, tricks, and things that will help, I think, people that might be suffering or people that just don't know where to look for help. So we're going to start today by actually talking about my dad and giving you a little bit of a story on where he's, sorry, going to try not to cry, but probably bound that I'm going to. Just a bit of a story about where he came from, his life, and unfortunately how it ended. So my father was a really strong man. He was driven and he was hardworking. From the age of 9, he started working, which showed his drive and passion for work. By 18, he had worked 4 jobs. He did a morning paper round, an afternoon paper round. He had a job at the local pub and at the local milk bar. He'd completed his apprenticeship also as an auto electrician by the age of 18. My mum told me that when they were young, she would earn $113 a week and he would make her save $100 of it. He had goals that they would both work hard to achieve them. He owned his own auto electrician. He was his own auto elect by the age of 21, so his own business. By age 30, he sold that and he built a service station. He then worked there for the next 10 years later in life, for the next 10 years, and then later in life, he became a property developer. Dad suffered from OCD from an early age. It was what I used to actually not understand what OCD was, but I used to think he was just a clean freak. Apparently at the age of 2, I would tell other kids not to touch the glass windows as I'd been trained to do that, and I knew that my dad would get angry. So if people did touch the windows, I would actually run and grab the chamois that I knew was hidden in the kitchen and quickly clean them before Dad come home. We lived in a beautiful house on a 1/4 acre with a swimming pool our whole life. I have one sister and I lived in a really loving home. So we never went without. It was when Dad actually turned 43 that he went through his first episode of depression. Lucky enough, he got on meds really quickly. He found the right meds and they worked, and he was back on his feet and out, running the properties and doing what he did best within 3 months. So it really was a small episode and he got through it quite quickly. Over the next 20 years, he accomplished another 7 builds, but he also went through another 2 periods where he went through depression. When things were going wrong with a property, tenants had left, a car wasn't working properly, things were breaking down, I noticed his stress and his anxiety levels would go through the roof. Basically, if things were not what his mind thought were perfect, he'd become anxious, he wouldn't sleep, and this led him into those states of depression. He was a joker though. He was a funny guy. Everyone that knew him said he was the life of the party. Everyone had a story about him where he caused some type of commotion, and I know that everybody missed that when he went into these states of depression. I thought maybe, because it's such a serious note, I'll share a fun memory of my dad. So one of my great memories that I have was only from 3 years ago. We were down Ocean Grove with the whole family for Easter. So there was about 25 of us down there. The whole Sharman clan were down there. And a family friend, Christine, was having her 60th in Bali. And we were talking about that. And Dad hated Bali, and I'd been there 20 times, and he vowed never to go there. And I just remember this one night he got really, really drunk. And when he got drunk, we thought we're going to make him commit to this because it's probably the only time we're going to get him to do so. So that night when he was drunk, we made him sign a Magna Doodle because it was the only thing we had close to us with the kids nearby. He signed it saying that he would attend. We grabbed his credit card and we booked business class return for all of us. So that was my sister, my husband, myself and him. So in the morning, I'd screenshot what we had done, a photo of the credit card purchase, and also a photo of the Magna Doodle where he said that he had to attend, he wasn't getting out of it. And I got a call from him and he just said 3 words. And I'm sorry if anyone doesn't like swearing, but his words were, "Up my ass, I'm going to Bali." It was really one of the greatest trips and memories that I'll definitely keep with me forever. Later that year, Dad entered into his 4th time of having depression. The anxiety and everything just got too much. We watched him probably deteriorate over the next 2 years. Although we all definitely tried to help. He had a lot of different meds that he tried. He stopped drinking because that was definitely not helping with his brain and the way it was thinking. He tried to cut out foods. He tried different foods. He bought different food groups in hoping that would help. And unfortunately, nothing like the past with just taking a tablet was an easy fix this time round. On top of dealing with depression in May last year, he received a letter from the council where he owned a building. They advised that the skylights in the concrete footpath that surrounded the building needed to be pulled up and changed as they'd become unsafe over the years. He went into a deeper depression. His anxiety was higher, he couldn't think straight, he was talking to many friends about it, and his brain was telling him that this job to do was going to cost about $1 million. This is what his brain was telling him. This actually was not the facts. So again, talking about the consciousness and how powerful that brain is. One of his best mates called me actually the day before he died and said, I've just left him. Jody, he wasn't great. He keeps going on about this $1 million to fix the building, you know, and his mate said this, you know, Jody, it's 100, maybe 200,000 max. But again, the thought of $1 million and having to actually deal with it, it just crippled him. He just it was out of control to him, so he lost control. On Friday, the 31st of May, he decided that it was too much. He walked downstairs and he wrote a suicide note and he ended his life. In that suicide note, he actually talked about the building and how it had just taken over him and he just couldn't get past it. Sorry. He told us he couldn't take the pain and that was it. That day I lost my dad forever. The pain that we live with will never go away. I still cry all the time, as you can see. But I am blessed to have an amazing family. We all have been really close, but we all still feel the same pain and we all miss him all the time and every day. Andrew's going to share some pictures shortly and you'll see a lot of the photos are from Saturdays at my grandmother's. So his mother lives around the corner here from us and for the last 10 years we've gone every year basically to every Saturday to Nan's, the whole family, and sometimes we have 20 people there. So you'll see some of the photos that I'm talking about. After Dad's death, we got a legal letter in to have a little look at the comments that had caused him so much stress and about the fact that they were saying that he owned the footpath, and they actually found that he didn't. In fact, the council was responsible for it. We presented that information to them and they sent an apology to us saying that they'd got it wrong and they withdrew the request. That was it. $6,000 in legal fees. We didn't have an issue. It was all cleared up, except now we didn't have a father. Walking around his 3-story house, looking at his 4 cars, all his memorabilia and all his possessions really showed me that they absolutely mean nothing in the end because he was buried with nothing. He had achieved everything on his list that he had set out to do in life and he had everything. And in the end, unfortunately, it is what killed him. So please, if today you take anything away, I want you to hear Andrew's coping mechanisms and talking about our mindset and how to get that right. I do hope that everybody learns something about self-worth today, and I hope by me sharing my story will remind you that perfection isn't everything in life. Thank you.
Wow. Joan, as always, you are an incredibly hard act to follow. And I think every single person is feeling for you right now, and just want to say thank you for your courage to share. But I mean, there's a reason why, you know, this is why Jodie's doing this again, and you might be watching this and you might be feeling anxiety or depression yourself. You might know people in your life that are struggling at the moment. we really want to ask and suggest that what you do is take on board what's being said today. You know, I'm just going to outline some real basic, simple things that I think can make a big difference. And don't try and take it all on, but maybe just look at one or two things that can help you. And I guess, you know, none of us are perfect, right? None of us. And no matter how hard we try, we never will be. And I think as long as you're moving forward and you're in control, then there's going to be a different feeling. So we're going to cover some stuff, but before we do, as Jody said, I just put together, Jody sent me some pictures and I just put it together with a little bit of music. So just, I guess, in memory of Mark Sharman. And, you know, I thought we would play that now and then we'll be able to get started. So let's get that moving and we'll be back shortly. So as you can see, Mark was obviously very much a family man, loved his family, and the tragedy is that he lost sight, I guess, of what was most important in his life. And it got to the point when everything just seemed too overwhelming to cope. So I think what I want to do, I don't want to dwell on, you know, on the tragedy that was Jody's father's passing, but what I want to do is I want to celebrate the fact that we're all here and we're alive and we have this amazing opportunity in front of us to live our very, very best life. And really that's what today's about. So if you've been involved, if any of the previous sessions that I've run, you'll know they're very interactive, and this is no different today. Again, just like the previous ones, I'm going to go through 5 very simple things, and I'm going to come back. So I'll share my screen. I'm going to go through some stuff. Then we're going to come back and we're going to be a bit interactive. We're going to ask, Jody and I are going to ask for you to share some comments into the chat section. We would love to hear your thoughts. And we'd love to get you thinking. We want to get you feeling strong and in control and moving forward in a direction and realizing that, you know, you are perfect. You're the perfect you. Okay. Are any of us perfect? No, we're not, but we don't need to be. To live our best life, perfection is not what we're after. It's all about direction. So let's get started. Okay, so here's the reality is we are everyone, we are gloriously imperfect, you know, but having said that, we are all enough. We're good enough exactly who we are. And I think where I want to start today is I really want to start talking to you about you, because I think when you value yourself, when you love yourself, when you believe in yourself, when you trust yourself, when you can talk to yourself the way you deserve to be spoken to. And I think if any of you, and I know there'll be a lot of people sitting in this room right now or in your room watching this, that are probably your own harshest critic. And I don't know, you're more than welcome to say, amen to that. I know I'm my own harshest critic. And sometimes I know that the way I speak to myself, if I was to speak to anyone else that way, they'd probably slap me. And so I think we've got to be incredibly conscious, number one, of how we talk to ourselves. But the way we talk to ourselves is a reflection of what we believe about ourselves and how much we love and value ourselves. So really, I want you to know that you are glorious. You're glorious in your imperfection. And be proud of your imperfection and know that that's your uniqueness. You are unique, and that's incredibly important. So let's have a look at this. I just want to use the next couple of minutes for you to realize how good you really are. Now, let me tell you a quick story about little Sid the sperm here. Sid the sperm, when he takes off in pursuit of fertilizing an egg, he's alongside him are around about 300 million mates. And every single one of those has the same goal, but only one is going to get there. And when those sperms leave and leave at breakneck speeds, and they enter and they start swimming furiously towards the egg through the uterus, down the fallopian tubes, do you know that the forces against them are ridiculous? The chances that sperm will actually get to that egg and fertilize it are 300 million to 1. And guess who that one is? That one is you. That one is me. So even before you were born, you were spectacularly special. You had persistence. You had resilience. You had focus. You had determination. You had strength. For you to get through and win that race to fertilize that egg is a quality that you have. You have right now sitting here listening to this. And I really want you to believe that. And again, if you know people that you care about that struggle with belief, tell them the story about the 1 in 300 million, okay? Because already before you're even born, you're incredibly special. Now that, to me, here's the deal. I truly believe if you think about the odds that you were born, I mean, you take that 300 million to 1, but then think about the odds of your parents meeting. Well, we could never calculate the odds of your parents actually meeting and your parents being born. So if you were to actually try to calculate the chances that you were born, you can't do it. Therefore, my belief is you are here for a purpose. You're on this planet for a reason, okay? You are incredibly special. So what I want you to start thinking about now, because I'm going to ask you to share, and this may be a bit uncomfortable for you, but you don't have to necessarily identify yourself. But I want you to share, when you look in the mirror, what do you like about what you see? What do you like about yourself? It doesn't necessarily have to be a physical thing. What do you like about you? Do you like your sense of humor? Do you like that you're a caring person? Do you like, maybe you like your nose, maybe you like your eyes. Mate, what is it about yourself that you like? Because we tend, don't we, to focus on the things we don't like about ourselves, the things we want to change, the things we want to improve. How often do you stop and go, do you know what? I'm pretty good. You know, I'm good at what I do. I'm good with people. You know, I've got nice legs. I've got sexy toes. I don't know. What is it for you? And then the other thing I want you to think about right now is, what are you good at? What are your strengths? Are you, and look, there's a list of words there. But some of them, or a lot of them, relate to you. I'm sure there's a lot of forgiving people and caring and supportive people. You're reliable, you're trusting, you're good at your job, you're good at what you do, you're a good negotiator, you're good at leading people and guiding people and helping people, you're brave, you're flexible, you're helpful, you're motivated, you're friendly. You can see all those words. This is the first. We will never achieve anything in this life with a belief about ourselves that we're not good enough, that we're not talented enough, that we're not smart enough, that we're not funny enough. If we don't have enough strength or persistence, or if you start calling yourself a procrastinator or that you give up, you've got to start believing more in you. Okay, so first question I'm going to ask everyone to share, or everyone that would like to share, I would love to know. And people are already doing it, which I love. So thank you for that. I want to see, what is it about yourself you love, or what are you good at? So kindness and compassion, Thank you. Alive and existing to work and live to, and work to live, and will enjoy my next holiday. Absolutely. What else? Putting a smile on people's faces. Absolutely. Come on, let's hear you guys. Let's hear what is it? Open-hearted. I care about people. Beautiful. I'm a light worker, empath, and emotional healer. That's beautiful, Meredith. Thanks. Positive attitude, Cindy. Good on you. Think the best of people. That's a wonderful strength to have. And Siddhartha saying, see the best in everyone. That's a wonderful. You're in control. Good on you, Sarah. That's beautiful. Being able to crack a joke when it's needed, and that's a very important strength to make people laugh. Being a good dad. Good on you, Tremaine. That's great. Peter, I think I'm an awesome mum of 4 happy kids. I love the fact that you said that, because you are an awesome mum. Trisha's a good listener. Karen, strength and a great listener. Petra is caring. Good on you guys. Thank you so much for sharing. Joe, do you want to add anything here?
No, but I am happy to see people interacting and reminding himself of their good qualities. It's great to see.
Trying hard to be a great husband and father. Good on you, Dallas. I'm sure you're doing more than trying. I'm sure you're succeeding. If you were to ask your wife and your kids, I guarantee you they'd tell you you are a great husband and father. And isn't that interesting? What we think about ourselves is often very different to what other people think about us. And I often do an exercise. I actually do it with teenagers. I do it in schools. And I get them to put their name at the top of a sheet and pass that sheet around and get people to write on that sheet what they like about that person. It's interesting how many people read the stuff that other people like about them and they're surprised. They go, wow, I didn't know that. Like, I make people laugh, or I'm caring. They go, I didn't even know that was me. So often you don't even know. So a good little exercise to do is ask other people, what is it about me that you like or that you respect? And when they tell you, believe them, take it on board, because they're not just saying it for the sake of a compliment or being flattery. You ask them, they're telling you. You know, I look at Jody and I see courage, and I see empathy, and I see someone who truly, truly wants to impact lives, and that's an incredible strength, and I know all of you are the same. So thank you all for sharing. We will get back into the presentation. Next little stage here. Okay, so one of the greatest problems, I believe, with a lot of people, and why a lot of people at the moment are struggling, is because of all the things that have been taken from us, or the things that are out of control. And those Melburnians, you'll be feeling this more than maybe other states in Australia, because, you know, we are in stage whatever lockdown and, you know, whatever the restrictions are. I just want you to try and as much as you obviously need to know what's going on, that's important. Please don't let yourself get lost in the things that are out of your control. Right now, what are you controlling? I love that little diagram. If you think about the things that matter to you and the things you can control, that's where you should focus. Okay? Think about it. The things that matter to you. You know, I'm guaranteeing for most of you, it's family. It's your health and it's your well-being. For most of you, it's your income and making sure that your business is surviving and thriving and that you're helping other people. And how of those things are you in control, and what can you control? So as I'm going through a few things here, what I want you to do, and again, I'm going to ask you the question, is I want you to make a decision to start today to take action on at least one thing you're in control of, okay? Now, we are all in control of what we focus on. We're all in control of what do we spend our time. Are we thinking about all the bad things that are happening? Are we thinking about all the uncertainty? And are we watching the news and feeling that depression and that anxiety and that uncertainty? Or are we focusing on the things that are important to us. So you get to control what you give your focus and attention to. You get to focus, and I've just spent a whole lot of time on this, but you focus on you and believing in yourself. You get to focus. You can affirm every single day. You can tell yourself you're good enough. You can ask people what about you do they like. You can start to read more and listen and start to build that belief in yourself. You are in control of that, and you can start today. You can absolutely focus on right now what you're grateful for. And I know if you were to all think about right now, and I know we've done this before if you've been on any of my calls, what right now are you grateful for? If you were to think about that, I guarantee there's a smile on your face, and any anxiety that you're feeling is disappearing when you think about what are you grateful for. You can focus on how and who you can help right now. And I think there's a wonderful, I did a podcast with a guy called Brad McEwen. Many of you would have heard of Brad McEwen. He was for 20 years, he was a reporter, a newsreader, a sports reporter on Channel 10, I believe, Channel 10. And he now works in the mental health space, and his message is about kindness and the power of kindness and giving, and how for people that are going through depression, when they are able to give kindness, that is an immediate solution or an immediate interaction that will help change their emotional state. So right now, who can you be kind to? Who can you send an encouraging word to? Who can you help in some way? You're in control of your perspective. You're in control of what direction you look at things from. You can look at right now as a problem, or you can look at now as an opportunity. You can look at everything from the fact that you maybe don't have as much work as an issue, or you can look at it as an opportunity. Now you've got more time to create other sources of income, to be creative and productive. You get to choose how you perceive life. You get to choose right now, and you're in control of the time you spend with your family, what you do with your family, how you interact with your family. You're in control of that. No one else is. You are, and you can do it now. You're absolutely in control of your well-being. And I would strongly recommend every one of you, this is one of the best things you can do is to start taking positive action around the way you think, the way you feel, the food you eat, exercise, all those things you're in control of. You're in control of how you respond to situations. You know, when something happens, you get to choose. You get to choose to find a positive. Now, a couple of people said in the chat section, they're good at finding the positive. Well, there's a positive in everything if you choose to look for it, and you're in control of that. So choose to find the positive. You're in control of what you're learning right now. What a great time to take control, learn a language, learn a musical instrument, learn how to use Zoom, learn technology, learn how to make videos, learn about YouTube, learn about making podcasts, learn about blogging, learn about all sorts of stuff, learn to cook, learn to knit. I don't know. You're in control. What do you want to learn, and what would get you moving to start doing that? You're in control of forgiveness. What a powerful thing to be in control of. You get to control whether you forgive yourself or not for things you've done or haven't done or said or haven't said, or where you are in this life. And if it's not where you thought you would be, you get to forgive yourself, and you also get to forgive other people, because if you are forgiving yourself for things you've said or done, then don't you think everyone else deserves that same respect and that same attention? So forgiveness is an incredibly powerful emotion, an incredibly powerful choice that you get to choose. You're in control of forgiveness. You are in control of what you do and the example you set. And I always talk about a ripple effect. If you've heard me speak, what you say doesn't mean that much. What you do will impact lives. Your example. So I would be asking myself, if I was you, and I do this all the time, is what I'm doing going to create a positive example for someone else to follow, and what impact will that have if that ripples? You're in control of opportunities that you take or don't take. You know, there are opportunities everywhere right now. Business opportunities, opportunities to write your book, opportunities to learn, opportunities to help. You know, there are opportunities everywhere. You are in control of that. Isn't this exciting? And this is only just a drop in the ocean of what you're in control of. You're in control of whether you move your body. You know, I've heard all these people talk about ISO fat, and I didn't even know what it was. And apparently it's the weight they put on because of isolation. Well, it's actually not because of isolation. It's because they didn't take control of their movement and they didn't take control of what they ate. So there's no such thing as iso-fat. You're either, you put on weight or you don't put on weight. It's got nothing to do with isolation. It's got to do with what are we taking control of, or what are we focusing on that's out of our control. And finally, every day there may not be good things happen every day, but you can always find the good in every day. So these are the things that we're in control of. Okay, so interaction time. You ready, guys? I want to know, what is it? What would be one thing? I know it's going to take courage for you to do this. What's one thing that you'd be willing to take control of as of today? Let's hear it. Let's see it, guys. Joe, while they're doing that, anything you want to share?
Well, I've just been jotting down some notes while you've been talking, and I have a lot of people that come to me and keep saying, ISIS, it's so, we're locked up and all this stuff, and I'm like, but we sort of have been anyway. So the new stage, is it affecting me personally? No. And the reason I tell people it's not is it's because I'm not allowing it to. I'm blessed. I feel happy. I'm at home with my children. I never have had this much time with my kids. And anyone that brokes knows that we're 24/7 as insurance brokers, and we work late in June. And, in June I was at home. I've enjoyed cooking with my family. On the weekend I was out in the garden picking fruit, and we delivered it across the road to the nursing home. So again, giving to others. And I'll be honest, I don't feel... I don't watch the news, so I'm not really watching what's happening. Again, that's a mental thing that I decide not to do. But again, I've taken control to not allow it control and affect me. So, yeah, I thought I'd just share that with you of what I've sort of been doing the last 5 months.
Cool, thank you. And I've just had a comment. So, Maddie, a comment that the chat function's been disabled. So, can we fix that?
Yeah, I've just seen that. I'm just going to have a look into it.
So you can, in the meantime, guys, in the question section, you can put your chat or you can put your comment. So, Marissa has said that she's in control of the way she responds. Okay, looks like it's working again. Is chat working again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, it worked.
So good on you, Marissa. More control the way I respond to my kids when they drive me insane. More sugar, less vinegar. Is that what you're saying? You're going to eat more sugar or you're going to have less sugar? Control how I react to every situation. Good. What are you going to, guys, what are you going to start today? What are you going to take control of today? Okay, Cindy's going to control what she eats. Sarah's going to take a lunch break and stop eating at desk. Good girl. Movement. Julia, what sort of movement are you going to do? And Matt, how are you going to react to things differently? Trisha's going to start some breathing exercises. That's a great thing. JJ's going to stop worrying about things I can't control. I love that. Karen's going to be more active. Brooke's going to respond rather than to react. Leanne is going to stop complaining. A lot of us could take up that one too. Control my reactions to other people's opinions. Good. Control of dialogue about the juggle. Yep. Remind myself that we have choices. Caitlin, honestly, that's a great idea. You've got to stop watching the COVID updates, really. Believing I am the perfect me. Good. You are the perfect you, Jasmine. There's no doubt about it. So, I mean, I'm loving that you're typing this stuff in, but I want you to really, this is serious. It's not just typing stuff in. It's now committing yourself to taking action and focusing on it. So I would, with the, Gordon's just said, think more positively about myself, as I tend to care more about others than myself. So my suggestion would be create an affirmation for yourself that you read every day. I am, I'm important, I'm strong. Write yourself affirmations. So it looks like a lot of people, are talking about wanting to be more positive. And I think that's wonderful, but you need a strategy for that. So again, who's going to turn off the news and not watch it every day? Who would be willing to do that? Who would be willing to start reading a book that's empowering and positive, or listening to a podcast, or or when you feel that anger, when you feel it, just stop before you react and take 3 seconds, take a breath and think about, how do I respond to that? And eat more good food, which is wonderful. But what specifically, and Brooke has done that, fruit and veg at least one every day, good mood food, which is great. Thank you, Brooke, for being specific. You need a specific action that you're willing to take and you're willing to control, because once you take one action, one thing, and you can start focusing on that every day, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel more positive. You're going to feel more empowered, and you'll start to then add other things into that. And this whole journey, when you're in control, how do you feel? Tell me, just throw some words at me. When you feel like you're in control, what emotion do you have? Give me some words. When you feel like, yeah, I'm in control of my health, how do you feel? When you're in control of your family life, how do you feel? You feel successful, you feel powerful, you feel positive, you feel serenity and peace. These are feelings we want to experience. These are feelings that are not associated with anxiety or depression. These are feelings that are not associated with perfection, that clarity and happiness. These are feelings that will keep, I've spoken about the positive physiological benefit of healthy emotion and how it strengthens your immune system and it strengthens your DNA and your brain health and will keep you living longer and happier. Can you see how important taking control is? So thank you all for sharing. It's wonderful. You're doing so good. I'm really, really proud of every single person. So let's get back into it, because I'm conscious of the time. We've got 3 more sections to cover. So let's go back in. Okay, a lot of this stuff, there's a fair bit of overlap here, and a lot of this stuff it's mindset anyway, right? Like everything's mindset. The last talk I did was called "Wellbeing is 100% mindset," but it's not just well-being. Financial success is 100% mindset. Having a happy family is 100% mindset. And the reason that's 100% mindset is because everything that we do starts as a thought in our brain. And you may have heard of a book or read a book called Mindset by a lady named Carol Dweck, Dr. Carol Dweck. And she talks about 2 specific types of mindsets that people tend to fall into. We either have a growth mindset or we have a fixed mindset. Now, let me just tell you, the fixed mindset is far more connected with depression, anxiety, suicide, abuse, all of those things, addiction, all of those things. Growth mindset is far more associated with success and happiness and peace and achievement and longevity. Okay, so what I want you to do is have a look here, and I'm going to quickly go through these. I want you to identify where you can maybe see an opportunity where you can move towards this growth mindset. So let's start with growth, because we want to look at failure as an opportunity to grow, and the perfectionists will look at failure as that they're not good enough. I can learn to do anything I want, whereas a lot of perfectionists feel like if they don't know it, then they'll never learn it, that they're not good enough. Challenges help me to grow. Wow, when something's tough, isn't that a wonderful mindset to go, bring it on? I love a challenge because I'm going to grow and get better from it. My effort and attitude determine my abilities. Interesting. Effort and attitude determine my abilities, not talent. Feedback is constructive, good or bad. Feedback is good. I'm inspired by the success of others. Now, that's a tough one, isn't it? Sometimes when other people are successful, all that makes us feel is, I'm not good enough. And then that breeds resentment. I like to try new things. That's a growth mindset. Okay, so let's look at a fixed mindset. Someone with a fixed mindset would see a failure as a limit. That means they're not good enough. That they're either good at something or they're not good at something. In other words, they're basically saying that they can't, their performance or their level is fixed. My abilities are unchanging. I don't like to be challenged. And the reason why a fixed mindset doesn't like to be challenged, because they don't want to fail, because when they fail, they feel like that's a slap a slap on the face. I can either do it or I can't do it. Again, they think that, well, if I can't do it, they won't even try, rather than, well, I'm going to start and be bad at it. and keep trying and improve and grow. And we all know, I mean, that's how we all started walking in the first place, right? Did anyone remember when they took their first step, they stood up and they started walking and that they never fell down, right? None of us, every one of us, and I don't know how long it took me to start walking, but I guarantee you it took me weeks or months before I could walk, and I got up and I fell down. And as a baby, I never questioned my ability. I never thought, well, I'm not good enough, I'm going to sit in my cot for the rest of my life. As a young toddler, my only thought was, I will walk, and I will do whatever it takes. That's a growth mindset. So we're all born with a growth mindset, but we develop a fixed mindset based on conditioning and our environment and what we learn and experiences. My potential is predetermined. You've got to get rid of that. Your potential is unlimited, absolutely unlimited. I'm frustrated. When I'm frustrated, I give up. Okay, well, turn now frustration into, rather than being frustrated, how about try be fascinated and learn, okay, how do I find a way around this? Feedback and criticism are personal. And it's so hard not to take criticism personally. I know I still have trouble with that, but it's not. And if you're going to learn from it and grow from it, you're going to be a better person. I stick to what I know. Okay, so that's the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Now, you will identify probably parts of each. So my question now in this little section here is, what could you do? What would be one thing you could do that could move you towards more of a growth mindset? If you feel like you've got some of those, if you feel like you don't like, if you fail, that means you're not good enough and you don't like trying. And if it's hard, you give up. And if any of you feel like that, what are some things you might be able to do now or think about that could move you more towards that growth mindset? Anyone want to share? Or are we having trouble with chat again? Oh no. I like it. Fail at something. Just know that if you fail at something, just try again. Absolutely. Don't react straight away. Think first. Yep. Stop second guessing your ability. And you're so true, Caitlin, because you may not get it right the first time. As someone believed in me, if they are, absolutely, they believe in you, and they're not expecting you to be perfect. One of the things that good, take on more challenges at work. Tomorrow, that's wonderful. Give new things a try, Julia. I think that's a great thing to do as well. The little engine that could. Thanks, Penny. Stop overthinking what I already know. Don't give up. I love it. I love it. I do a lot of work with authors, aspiring authors, and the biggest problem with someone who's trying to write a book is that they read the first chapter, and because it's not perfect, they make the assumption they're no good and they give up. And my attitude is, I always say you've got to write badly before you can write well. So, Brooke, I don't like some of life's challenges. Well, I mean, that's all of us. But you always learn something, yeah? You always grow through everything. I survive, so I feel nervous in the stomach, but I do it anyway. That's wonderful, Brooke. Don't dwell on the past. Wonderful, Cindy. Learn from mistakes and move forward. There's a wonderful quote by Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, and he says, if you're feeling depressed, you're living in the past. If you're feeling anxious, you're living in the future. If you're feeling peaceful, you're in the moment. You're in the present. So don't dwell on the past. Learn from it, and don't look. The future is the future, right? Let's focus on now, right now, and what we can do now is get started. Rose, every journey starts with the first step. So that is wonderful stuff. So thank you guys again for sharing. You're doing so good. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay, and again, I've spoken about this before, so I apologise if you've been to a previous session. We spoke about purpose, but I truly think, if you go back to that that diagram earlier about what's most important and what are you in control of, and that's your sweet spot. Well, Jody talked about her dad with incredible passion and love, and what she said is her dad accumulated he had cars, he had the home, he had everything. But what he didn't, obviously, he wasn't clear about was his purpose. He had accumulated stuff, and I think a lot of us make the mistake. And I spoke about this last time. That I thought success and purpose was about accumulation. I played professional sport, and I thought it was that achievement of that sport that would help me feel like I was on purpose. It didn't. Then as a personal trainer, it was the pursuit of a body that other people would admire that I thought would give me that feeling of satisfaction and self-love. It didn't. It was, the accumulation and trying to get somewhere that I thought was what was important. It wasn't. And as Jody said so beautifully, her dad's gone and he left everything. He was buried by himself. None of that stuff, the accumulated, went with him. What will go with you when you finally leave is the people that you love and the legacy you leave and the faces that you've impacted. And I really want you to right now stop and think about the people the faces that give your life meaning. I spoke about Viktor Frankl. Some of you have read the book Man's Search for Meaning, and I won't spend a lot of time here, but he was incarcerated in a concentration camp back in the Second World War. He's recently married. He and his wife were separated, and he was living in a state of total torture. Every pleasure, every possible comfort was taken from him. He was beaten, he was abused, he was starved. And he said the only thing that kept him going was the face of his wife. Now, he didn't know that she'd been killed in another concentration camp. And I think if he'd known that, he wouldn't have survived. That face, the thought of seeing her again, being with her again, kept him alive over 4 grueling years as people around him were passing away. He tells a story about one particular guy who had, for some reason in his head, absolutely believed that the war would be over on a certain date and they would be free. And when that day came and went, he didn't survive. He was dead the next day because he'd attached his purpose to the date and that freedom rather than the faces of the people he wanted to be around. So, I spoke about my mum and her journey with cancer. And again, I'm not going to go into the story, but she outlived the cancer diagnosis by 15 years because of faces, because of her kids, because of her husband, because of her family and her grandkids and wanting to be with them. It's all about the faces. Mother Teresa said, spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. It was all about a face for everything that she endured and went through. Nelson Mandela was incarcerated for 27 years before he became president of South Africa. He said, what counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived, is what difference we have made to the lives of others, faces that will determine the significance of the life we live. Fred Hollows, most of us know this amazing man who sacrificed his life to go to third world countries and help the blind. To my mind, having a care and concern for others is the highest of the human qualities. Pretty powerful stuff. And those people, you look at Mother Teresa and you look at Fred Hollows and you look at Nelson Mandela and you go, wow, they're special people. No more special than you. No more special than you. Maybe they did things that are more extreme, but they just tapped into that power of purpose. And when you find that power, when you find the face or the faces that get you out of bed, that give your life meaning, your life will never be the same. Like I know that every day I wake up, my vision and my purpose is to do exactly what I'm doing now. This sort of stuff. I can't see your faces. I can see Jodie's face. That's the only face I can see, but I can imagine your faces. And that inspires me. That moves me. So I would love to know, guys, whose face or faces give your life that meaning and purpose that you would drop everything. And it might be one face. It might be a multiple faces. It may be faces you've never seen. It may be faces you will never see. I know from a lot of the people that hopefully I'm inspiring, I'll never meet them through my books and my writing and my speaking. So tell us the faces, husband and kids. Thank you. What are the faces? And I want you to focus with everything you've got and know that every decision you make, and everything you do is having an impact on those faces. We've got a lot of ladies here. There's got to be more men. Where are the men? Come on, men, start entering stuff. Thanks, Don. It's interesting how us men, too cool for that. Leanne, my dog. Do you know what, Leanne? My dog, her face absolutely melts my heart. Penny, too many people to list. I understand. Sister, thanks, Meredith. Grandkids, thanks, Trevor. Best friend, yeah. Good on you, Tamara. Petra, thank you, daughter and son-in-law. Get me through my cancer. Yeah, wonderful. Isn't it, when you think about those people, doesn't it make you feel, doesn't that just warm your heart? My wife, 2 kids, and 2 dogs as well. Good on you, JJ. Marissa, beautiful, 2 daughters. Not too cool, too afraid, Cam. So what's the face, Cam? My wife and both kids. You don't need to be afraid, mate, but thank you for sharing. And Dallas, your autistic grandson's face. Oh, what a beautiful face. I'm sure that is. Wonderful. Wonderful. Again, thank you, guys. We're nearly done. You guys are, I'm again so grateful for all of you. Happy face of a stranger. Daniela, thank you. And isn't that true? I mean, if you can make someone smile, even someone you don't even know, that's powerful. That's wonderful. Thanks, Danielle. Okay. I'm going to hand it back over to Jody now for this last little section, and I think one of the greatest strengths we have but don't use is the ability to ask for help, and the fact that help is everywhere. So when you're feeling like you need it, or someone that you do, just know that help is there. Over to you, Jode.
Thank you. One of the things that I found whilst I was on the journey with my dad was, I didn't have a lot of experience in this. So I was reaching out to a lot of different organisations. So, you'll see on the screen here now, there's a couple of sites that I went to, a couple of phone numbers that I called personally. One thing that I've discovered in the last, year with other people, I've been talking to them, saving phone numbers like Lifeline in people's phones. If you've had that conversation with them and they've thought about it, or they've threatened it, or they might have had an episode where they went through something, is actually saving phone numbers in their phone, so that that might be their at that end point where they think this is no turning back. They might pick the phone up and call that number, and it might save their lives. So so I just wanted to remind people that there is services that are out there. For people that are new to it and don't know much about it, you can go to your doctor if you are feeling that something's not right, or someone that wants to reach out for help and they don't know how to do it. They may think it's too expensive to see a psychologist, but you can get a mental health plan now with a bulk bill doctor for free, and that will give you 10 sessions with a psychologist at no charge, and will just start you on your journey. Most people on this call will be a part of an organisation that also has phone numbers that are available. I know that I work at Marsh, and they offer 5 free services. So again, just reaching out to people and asking for help is the key of what I'm trying to say here. And those sites have phone numbers, have videos, have some training, have some tips on what to say and what not to say to people that are suffering, because you don't want to do anything or say anything that might trigger something. So just take a photo of those, and good luck.
Thanks, Jode. And is there anyone right now that's watching that is maybe wanting to ask questions of Jody, or about where they can find help, or if you feel courageous enough? I mean, obviously Jody, I'm sure, will be happy, and I'm certainly happy for you to contact me. I'll put my contact details up shortly, but I know Jody will be happy to answer questions if any of you. Joe, might be worth do you want to just type your email address, if you are comfortable to do that, into the chat room?
On the chat, yep.
And if people want to reach out, but anyone right now got any questions they want to ask about where to find the best help, or maybe they're struggling with something, or they know someone? Is there anyone that would like to share or ask?
So if you don't want to email through here, I had a lot of people from the last section reach out to me via LinkedIn as well. So
okay. So Jody can be contacted, jody.sharman@marsh.com, or via LinkedIn at Jody Sharman. I we'll just wrap up, and just say, as I say, you know, this session is about helping you absolutely get through right now and prepare you for the challenges that life are going to have, and to keep you moving forward and letting go of that need to be perfect, and just loving you, loving life, loving opportunity, loving challenges, and always, always, always know there's a ripple effect. The people that you care about, those faces that you thought about, are going to be affected by the thoughts you make, the words you say, and the choices that you make. You know, Jodie's family is forever ever affected by her dad's choice, but it doesn't have to be a suicide. It could be there's a lot of things that will ripple, but let's try and make that ripple a positive ripple, and then make that legacy you leave one that you really, really are proud of. So when it comes your time to leave this planet, you will have left something that will positively ripple out for many, many generations to come. So I'm happy for you to contact me at any stage. There's my email address and my website. There's my phone number. Happy for you to call me, text me. You know, I have regular weekly podcasts and blogs, and, you know, just let me know if you'd like me to subscribe you to that, and obviously social media as well. So let me just finish that. So I'm just checking the chat section. So have a day off, Leanne. Have a day off. Take that day off, please, for your sake. But look, I just want to thank you again. Thank you all for being part of this call. I want to thank Jodie for her inspiration. I want to thank Dallas and Maddie and the guys at NIBA for putting this on. I really am very respectful for the effort that they put in to help look after you guys, and to provide stuff that will make a difference. I hope a lot of the stuff Jodie and I have spoken about will impact your life and will help you make better choices and deal with what's going on around the world right now, and turn it from something that may be creating stress and anxiety into something that's going to be an incredibly positive outcome for you and your family. So, Jode, I don't know if you want to say anything to wrap up.
No, I want to thank you, Andrew. Again, this is our third session, and you know, you came into my life in December last year, and it was something I really needed to hear, because I think from my first meeting with you and hearing your presentation, I have become grateful, and I have turned a tragedy into something that I know I still cry a lot about it, but I do use it as a base to help us, you know, remember things. And yeah, I just think it's really important to get that mindset right. And I found that I went and seen a psychologist, and 12 sessions later, you know, with your help as well, I am in a great mind frame, and I'm just going to try and keep it that. So, yeah, thank you.
Good on you, Jode. And thanks, everyone.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
See ya.
Bye.